Hello everyone. I haven't done a video like this in a while where I'm just going off the cuff and, you know, you're getting me raw and unfiltered. But with what's going on with the whole vaping situation, I honestly felt that I needed to, say something about what's going on. I already get too much time vested in another script that I want to try to get done before the weekend and, recorded and everything. So I figured this was the best way to go about this. Because with what I'm seeing going on, it's really frustrating. Because if it wasn't for vaping, I would probably still be a smoker today. And I'm looking at a situation being exploited to go after vaping. Now, what gets me is like we have here from CBS News. Now, I'm going to have what I have here put into the links in the description so that you can go and check these things out for yourself. But from an article from CBS News, Trump's crackdown on flavored vaping products unlikely to take effect soon. Well, that's because there's legal challenges. There's going to be at least legal challenges. And I seeing the opening of this article, it kind of chapped my ass a little. Now, I'm trying to keep my language clean, and there might be a profanity or two thrown in, so you've been forewarned. Because this really does piss me off a little bit, because what's going on is a complete and total sham. So, but see here, Donald Trump said Wednesday that a ban on most flavored vaping products is the right response to what health officials call an epidemic of e-cigarette use by teenagers. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar announced the FDA will soon issue guidance on how to take flavored vaping products off the market, targeting products they believe are especially appealing to kids. Now, as a 44-year-old man who vapes, who, if it wasn't for vaping, would still be smoking, I like my flavored juices. I like my strawberry milkshake. I like my apple butter. I like my butterscotch pudding. I like my pound cake. I like my Fruit Loops. I'm not a kid. The flavors are appealing to adults too. And what's funny is they're like, oh, for the children. For the children. That's their go-to for everything that they're trying to get rid of. And what gets me is that the ones that are pushing for this are most likely the deep state bureaucrats within the FDA that tend to be allies to the Democrats. And this is just an opinion, but I honestly think a factor to this is, one, the kids aren't smoking cigarettes. They want the kids smoking cigarettes because the more cigarettes, because in states like California and Massachusetts, the more cigarettes are sold, the more money they get from the tobacco master settlement. And California has done everything to try to stop vaping in its state so people will smoke cigarettes because they need that money. Because they sold bonds against money that they didn't even have with the tobacco master settlement. Oh, no, we can tax the shit out of it and people will still smoke. So we can just do this. We can sell these bonds and we can just count on that money coming in. And the money didn't come in because a disruptive technology came along. And that Massachusetts did the same exact thing. So that's what I see is some of this is going on. This isn't about the children. If it was about the children, what they would do is they would take things like Juul out of convenience stores and gas stations because they are the ill-suited places for something like this. Put it in vape shops because vape shops know that they're under more scrutiny and they actually do card. And they also want to keep the persona, the view of vaping as an alternative to smoking, as a way to quit smoking. Having kids vaping isn't beneficial to their business. A lot of small businesses are going to be screwed by this. They're going to go out of business. I mean, this is ridiculous. Appealing to kids. Give me a break. This isn't about anything to do with children. They're just the excuse. Okay, and what they're using is this fact of what's going on with all these people, okay, getting ill. And they're trying to blame vaping for the deaths that have happened. Now, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I wanted to show you something from, like, read this part of the opinion here from this, the first part of this opinion, from the Detroit News. Now, the person who wrote this, Ross Marchand, he really, I think, hit the nail on the head with what he says here. Vaping bans hurt adult smokers trying to quit. Across the United States, 34 million smokers face a daily struggle to give up their deadly habit and quit cigarettes for good. Thanks to the Trump administration, smokers will soon face more barriers than ever to kicking their vice. Yes. And, you know, that is the honest to God's truth. On September 11th, President Trump proposed a ban on flavored vaping products, which will be put into place by the Food and Drug Administration. This abrupt prohibition came a week after Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer ordered flavored vapes be taken off the shelves. Yes, which it had nothing to do with flavored vapes. See, this is ridiculous. See, this is an exploitation of a situation because you have these people that have gotten sick. And I knew when I saw what was going on, the symptoms that were being reported, I knew what it was. I don't even have a medical degree. I'm just an informed vapor. And the CDC won't even admit this because if they admit what it actually is, the people who died is on the doctors who misdiagnosed, is on the CDC because they didn't know their asses from their elbows, which again, I'm sorry, is getting a little ahead of myself. Because this is ridiculous. These bans will do nothing to curb youth usage or end the mysterious lung disease cases that inspired the government to act. Instead, it will only make it more difficult for millions of smokers to end their deadly dalliance with a proven killer. Yes. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar said the purpose of the federal ban was to reverse the deeply concerning epidemic of youth e-cigarettes use that is impacting children, families, schools, and communities. The link between juvenile-sounding flavors and youth is a tempting one to draw, but the evidence simply isn't there. But, okay, so Juul sells a melon-flavored vape, and that's a child-flavored name. Bullshit. Because this is about targeting Juul, which Juul will be fine because they've got big tobacco money behind them. It's going to be the small businesses that get screwed. Trump is supposed to be the business president, and he's about to destroy an industry in the United States. One that actually helps people. A 2015 survey asking hundreds of non-smoking teenagers aged 13 to 17 about their interest in taking up vaping found that teen interest did not vary by flavor. Even evidence cited by the decidedly anti-vaping Robert Wood Johnson Foundation in 2018 cast doubt on the flavor epidemic myth. Arguing for new restrictions on vaping flavors, the foundation cited a 2016 study that found 96% of non-smoking teenagers were not interested in trying e-cigarettes regardless of the flavor. I mean, the evidence says otherwise, and they're going to exploit this situation. This is like, you know, the incident in El Paso and going after personal defense devices, if you catch my drift. It's the same exact playbook. President Trump, Secretary Azar, and pro-prohibitionist state officials like Whitmer refuse to acknowledge the importance of exciting flavors and getting adult smokers to quit cigarettes. Yes, exactly. You don't think that like will help even more? Because if you think about it this way, people are used to the taste of a cigarette. As a smoker, I was used to it. I mean, even almost 6 years later, I actually still like the taste of them. I've taken mouthfuls off of them. I won't inhale, just to see if I still like it. And I know that I still like the taste. I like the smell. It hasn't gotten, like disgusting for me, we'll say. But I don't have the urge to smoke. And it's because of vaping. Yet, we got to protect the children. What about me? What about every other vapor out there that was a smoker? American adult vapors report to the government that they enjoy using in descending order of frequency fruit, mint menthol, and chocolate miscellaneous flavored products. Since 10.8 million adult vapors have far more buying power than 3 million teenage tokers, the market overwhelmingly caters to the 18 and over crowd. Yes, exactly. So that goes to show, throwing out the baby with the bathwater type mentality. And as I said, you want to solve the problem, okay? You don't have them in convenience stores where it's, where a little kid can go in and go, "Can I have a Juul?" And the person behind the counter goes, "Oh, thank you very much. That would be $15. You don't want that. Because they don't give a shit. Whether they own the place, run the place, work there, hourly, they just don't give a shit. So yeah, you put it in the hands of people who aren't going to care whether children have access to it. Real smart. I knew from day one that was going to lead to problems, seeing Juul and other things being, on the note of e-juice and e-cigarettes being sold in gas stations. I knew that was going to lead to the whole thing getting screwed. The whole situation with vaping getting screwed. I knew it. And what's funny is there are studies out there, which this one gets into, and I show this study to people, and they tell me, "Oh, yeah, full of shit. Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a study that says this." But there is. See, it says that it's 95% safer, and that there have been studies to back this up. "Oh, what about these studies?" And then you try to explain, like, a state-funded study from California that has an incentive to get people back to smoking is not a credible study. And then you try to explain to them, because you've read the study unlike them, that they used flawed methodology. And they don't want to hear it. No one wants to hear it because they think, study, it's got to be credible. They don't realize that there are all these junk studies out there, especially these days. They don't get that. So they just buy into the bullshit. But anyway, state and federal government have a public health prerogative to allow adult smokers access to attractive alternative products that mimic the sensation of smoking cigarettes. A study from Public Health England found that vaping is 95% safer than smoking cigarettes. Yes. Corroborating studies led the UK body to reaffirm their findings in recent years. Yes. See, they don't like that. Not only is big tobacco getting screwed, but also big pharma. Because the patch, which I've tried, does not work. Nicotine gum. It's a fucking joke. Let me tell you. Nicotine gum goes great with a cigarette. You want to get a nicotine buzz because you ain't feeling it? Oh, pack a piece of it in your gum and light up. That's what I did when I tried the gum. I'm not going to take Chantix. No freaking way. I'm not messing with my brain's chemistry with big pharma's poisons like those, because I don't want to have fucked up dreams or want to, have suicidal thoughts or homicidal thoughts, because those are all things that you have with that. So I went, I've tried quitting. I'll give vaping a shot. It actually worked. And in 2019, in fact, in a 2019 New England Journal of Medicine study found that e-cigarettes were nearly doubly as effective as traditional nicotine therapy for smokers kicking the habit after 1 year. As in, it is twice as effective at keeping them away from cigarettes than Nicorette or the patch. So yeah. And then it gets into the lung ailment here. But yeah, so before I go into the two videos I have here, one which goes to show something, I just want to show where I got ahead of myself. I knew what this was. Okay? See, I knew that it wasn't going to be e-juice. I knew that it was going to be THC cardies, cannabis oil cartridges. I knew it was going to be that. I also knew that it was going to have how do I put this? I'm trying to think of it was going to have, besides THC oil in it, other oils that you're not supposed to have in it. See, you have what's called lipid pneumonia. Okay? Every symptom of lipid pneumonia is a symptom that these people experienced, and none of the doctors could figure it out, and people died. The CDC couldn't figure it out, and people died. Now they're trying to go after vaping, in part, besides to help out the California, Massachusetts, let Juul corner the market. This is all like business motivated, if you ask me. And Trump is getting fed bullshit information. I really think that's what's going on. Because the CDC would look bad if they could not diagnose lipid pneumonia. These doctors, these great diagnosticians that couldn't figure out it was lipid pneumonia, they don't want to deal with the liability, because that's like lawsuit worthy. So, lipid pneumonia or lipoid pneumonia, either way. Symptoms and treatment. What is lipoid pneumonia? Lipoid pneumonia is a rare condition that occurs when fat particles enter the lungs. Lipoids, also known as lipids, are fat molecules. Pneumonia refers to inflation of the lungs. Lipoid pneumonia is also called lipid pneumonia. There are two types of lipoid pneumonia. Exogenous lipoid pneumonia, which occurs when the fat particles enter from outside the body and reach the lungs via the nose or mouth. Endogenous, I'm going to butcher that. Endogenous, I actually might have said that okay. Lipoid pneumonia. In this type, fat particles accumulate in the lungs, causing inflammation. Endogenous lipoid pneumonia is also known as cholesterol pneumonia, golden pneumonia, or in some cases, idiopathic lipoid pneumonia. Now, like I said, they had the symptoms. All of these symptoms were what these people have been suffering from. Every single one of them. And I hope those doctors, because if vaping is going to be going after because of their incompetence, then I hope the family members of those people who died, which, I'm sorry that they died, but I think those families should sue the Ev-11 shit out of those doctors, just to prove a point. They were incompetent. If they had done a little research or whatever else, hell, I'm a vapor, and I know what the hell lipid, however you want to look at it, pneumonia, I know what it is. These guys go to medical school, and they're looking for zebras, and people died. So, here we go. Symptoms of both types of lipoid pneumonia vary from person to person. Many people don't experience any symptoms at all. Others experience mild symptoms. Symptoms of lipoid pneumonia tend to worsen over time. Oh, wow, what happened? Oh, yeah, their symptoms worsened over weeks. Okay. In some cases, they can become severe or even life-threatening. Like with these people who were vaping THC oil cartridges from the black market that had vitamin E suspended in an oil that had lipids in it. Some of the common symptoms of lipoid pneumonia can include chest pain. All of them reported it. Chronic coughing, reported by them. Difficulty breathing, reported by them. You can go look at the articles. They say this. Less common symptoms. Fever, reported. Coughing up blood, reported. Weight loss, reported. Night sweats, reported. Difficulty swallowing, reported. Every single symptom was reported. And they were looking for zebras. And I know I sound unworked up, and yeah, this just kind of boiled my blood a little bit. But I'm sounding more worked up than I really am, if that makes any sense. But I'll tell you one thing that really pissed me off. It's when you got some fart sniff huffing, high on his own farts, fucking reject who talks out of his ass like Sticks here. Okay, running his mouth about this shit. People look at him. He got some things right with Trump. And he literally he makes more fucked up gaffes these days than Biden. And I shit you not on that. I'm not exaggerating. Okay? This is a guy who says, I'm a libertarian. And then says, oh, well, you should have to have your kids vaccinated if they want to go to public schools. Him and Tim Pool. Tim Pool just said that recently. These two would get right the fuck along together. And I think they're both fucking rejects who are high on their own farts, who think they're smarter than what they are. I mean, Sticks here. He's like, oh, don't do vaping, but do the patch or gum. So he's sucking big pharma dick when it comes to vaccines and quitting smoking. Well, you should just quit cold turkey. Well, I'm getting it. Let me do my little notation, actually. He goes, you should just quit cold turkey, because vaping is stupid. But if you gotta do something, well then, you should do the patch or you should do the gum. That's what this fucking reject did. And you know what gets me is you look at the fart huffers that are sitting there, lined up behind him as he's bent, with his head between his legs, nose up his ass, hoping just to catch a fucking whiff that gets past his nose. They're fluffing him on this shit. And it's pathetic. And I'm sorry, but this shit really pisses me off. But, so, Sticks here. Let's look at his fucking take. Now, the other person that I'm going to show you a video of is Steven Crowder. And I expected him to pull the dipshit route. And go the route Sticks did. Because I've seen when he, his anti-pot and all that other shit. I expected him to follow that fucking route. Now, especially with some of the things he said on his shows about vaping and douchey and hipster and all that. He's been pretty anti-vaping. But he's the one that's actually making sense when I wouldn't expect him to be. And Sticks the one that sounds like a fucking moron. So listen for yourself how much of a moron Sticks is sounding these days.
Alright everyone, we got a little moral panic going on with vaping. Now, first and foremost, I'm aware that vaping is dumb. I chose not to. I just quit tobacco cold turkey. And it actually worked. Too bad I became an alcoholic for a long time, in part because of it. But, I stopped smoking, In fact, it's almost 2 years that I haven't had any tobacco products. I'm never going to go back. I mean, I don't even crave it at this point. Tobacco smoke finally, after like 6 months, finally tobacco smoke stopped smelling alluring and started smelling yucky, which is a good thing. I think it's wonderful. So I wouldn't recommend vaping. If you can quit cold turkey, it's best. I wouldn't recommend just a nicotine replacement. That includes like gums and patches. Sit fucking down.
So you see, he's saying right there, besides all the other stupid shit that's spewed out of his mouth. And that isn't even the stupidest shit. But, if you can't quit cold turkey, if you got to do nicotine replacement, you got to do this. Well, no shit, dumb fuck. When you do nicotine replacement, you do other things to break your habits. All right? Like a good example, even though, I went from cigarette smoking to vaping. One thing that helped me, my big thing is the oral fixation. But I got past certain things, like having a cigarette after I eat or having to vape after I eat. But I went from buying cigarettes to rolling my own with just straight tobacco. So I got all those other chemicals, which are actually more addictive than the nicotine, out of my system. It took me a while too. I mean, I was chain smoking my roll my owns. I was going to say hand roll, but I use a machine. But I chain smoked until finally my body had that flushed out of my system. So when I switched to vaping, it was easier for me. But I still have the oral fixation. And I had to work around that. And it's actually helped me on the note of my oral fixation on other notes, like biting my nails. I don't really bite them. Thanks to vaping. Oh, vaping bad. Vaping dumb. Me big-brained. Sticks need more dopamine. I gotta go steal dopamine from Thargon. I gotta get it before he does. This is the type of, mentally retarded shit this dumb fuck is saying now. And it gets even dumber.
Take 3 or 4 days, which are the first 3 or 4 days are the hardest, and
actually it's more than that, Sticks. If you actually went and looked, there's plenty on the subject, especially with people from vapors. It's usually a week to 2 weeks. It's not 4 days, okay? It's a week to 2 weeks, depending on how heavy a smoker you are, which clearly, if it took you 4 days, because you're speaking from personal experience, you weren't really a heavy smoker. So of course you could quit when you're one of those poser fuck, ooh, I'm edgy fucks who smokes and you don't smoke a pack a day. Yeah, it's easy for you to quit. But when you're a 2-packer like me, it's not. It took me 2 weeks when I switched to roll on my own to get those other chemicals out of my system, at least. And I've talked to a lot of other people who have quit smoking, who have gone to vaping. And it's taken them between a week and 2 weeks. Dumb fuck don't know what he's talking about.
Get busy. Do whatever it is that you tend to enjoy. Do it. Avoid anything that you can literally fucking skip meals if eating makes you want to smoke. Fucking skip meals. Give your keys away so you can't.
No, you actually don't want to skip meal sticks. Because what you're trying to do is keep your body going healthy. Skipping a meal is not going to be conducive to that. We get the Vermont trailer trash dumb fuck, expert on everything but knows nothing about anything in reality. The expert on everything but knows nothing doesn't know anything in reality here, telling us how to do shit.
Can't go down to the store and buy cigarettes. Wait those 3 or 4 days if you can. You can make it beyond that. If you have normal levels of self-control, trust me, your addiction potential is probably lower than mine.
Yeah, probably lower than yours, says a guy who I'm guessing maybe smoked, a half a pack a fucking day. Shut the fuck up, you smug piece of shit. Seriously, dude. Seriously, you keep talking out your ass about these things. And no one calls you out. People, what do? They want to be your V. Oh, you're so smart. No, you're a fucking moron who doesn't know what you're talking about, dude.
You can probably make it. Fucking don't use vaping as a stand-in unless you absolutely have to. If you're like, well, the flesh is weak, but I really want to quit, do what you need to do. Here's what I would say.
The flesh is weak. He's a fucking Satanist, and he's talking about the flesh is weak? Excuse me? Everything in Satanism is about the flesh is weak. It's about self-indulgence. So you're not even a true follower of your religion. So you're a hypocrite on every front. Okay, good to know.
There have been hundreds now of illnesses, which are various, and I'll get into that, related to vaping.
Wrong. Sticks, you don't know what you're talking about.
Across the country now over the last couple of years. This has nothing to do with flavored vaping products. This has to do, some people get popcorn lung because of it.
Actually, no. No one has ever gotten popcorn lung from vaping, you dumb shit. No one. Do you know who got popcorn lung? Workers at a microwave popcorn factory who were breathing in diactyl from the artificial butter being poured in. Yeah. And they were exposed to shit tons of it, you dumb fuck. This is the type of mentally retarded dumb shit that comes out of his mouth. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Any vapor who's done 10 minutes of research could debunk him. Which is why every time he gets into a debate, he pulls a Sargon, thinks he knows what he's talking about, and gets his ass handed to him. Because he doesn't research shit. He just talks from his feelings. Like here.
Of improperly made product. Mostly imported.
Actually, no. No one here in the U.S. buys Chinese juice, you dumb shit. Which, I'm sorry, I got a little ahead. I should have stopped it a second later. He talks about juice coming from China is the problem. No, juice from China isn't the problem. No one here uses juice from China because any actual vapor knows that juice from China is complete and total shit, you dumb fuck. I'm sorry, but I can't put up with him talking like this anymore. He doesn't know his ass from his fucking elbow. And he's getting worse than Biden. I think he's in mental fucking decline.
Let's face it. You could stop most of this, by the way, by banning imports from China, but that's something that Trump doesn't want to talk about.
No, it wouldn't do a goddamn thing, you dumb fuck.
I would think that trade war Trump would take aim at the Chinese imports that are actually causing illness. And then cannabis vaping. Somebody can potentially green out if they're sitting there vaping, they're bubbly or whatever, if they're injecting huge amounts of THC into their product and just straight up railing it, hundreds of dollars worth of cannabis in a sitting, yeah, they could probably get sick from that.
No, you cannot get sick. You cannot, for you to get sick, Sticks, you have to physically overdose. It is impossible, like physically impossible, to overdose. You could mainline, okay, if it was possible. If you could refine THC down to something that was bootable, you could mainline the ever-loving shit out of it, and you would not OD. You might trip balls. I mean, it is a mild hallucinogen after all, but that's about it. This guy should keep his mouth shut. All right, he predicted Trump. I predicted Trump. Does that make me some great fucking sage? No, that just makes me fucking lucky, I guess. Because I was able to see the signs. But people look at him as some great fucking sage these days. And he's a dumb fuck who doesn't know his ass from his elbow.
Yeah, they could probably blow a blood vessel or something. Dude, it's just like with marijuana. If you are smoking marijuana in normal amounts that should suffice for anyone, you're not dabbing, you're not extracting the marijuana itself and making a high potency resin and then injecting it into your eyeballs.
Injecting it into your eyeballs. That just goes to show the smugness and self-superiority. Well, if you're one of those people who does dabs, if you're one of those people who wants to shoot the shit in their eyeball, which is, he's trying to conflate there, okay? Well, I'm better than you. You don't need to do that. You don't need to vape. You don't need to do this. And you want to know why? Because I say so. That's literally Sticks in a fucking, nutshell.
You're just smoking pot. You're probably not going to get sick from that. And if you think that you're getting sick, you're probably just greening out. You should fucking stop freaking out like a little pussy.
Says the guy who fucking greened out and stopped smoking pot. Which you've talked about, pussy. But yeah, he goes on and it's just babbling and stupid fucking shit. This is going to be in the description, but that Sticks, okay, the libertarian. Now, Steven Crowder, the anti-pot conservative, who's now changed his stance a bit on pot, and yeah, let's see what Steven Crowder has to say, and I give him credit for this one, all right, because the libertarian should be the ones going, hey, that ain't fucking right, and Sticks is like, oh, well, you shouldn't vape, I'm your moral superior, you shouldn't do this. Libertarians don't do that. Libertarians aren't moral fucking superiors. Libertarians are live and let live. You might not agree with what someone's doing to themselves. You might not agree with other things, in their lives that are going on and that they're doing in general. But it's not your place to say that they should not or should be doing them. But Sticks, the hypocrite Satanist, thinks that he should, fucking dictate because he's the moral superior.
Okay, so the vaping ban. Everyone's talking about this. I'm recording this from my car right now because we have the big live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, the whole debates, drinking game, costume contest. Follow me on Twitter. So I apologize that I'm not in the studio. It's being reset right now. Let me say this first off. I don't vape. I do have a friend who has a vape, and I'll grab a drag every now and then. Don't really like the way it makes me feel. I do smoke cigars, but that doesn't matter. I think it's very weird when people try and look through the lens of what affects them with news stories. For people who don't know, Donald Trump, the FDA, the White House, they're proposing an all-out vaping ban on flavored e-cigarettes. If you support that, you're not a conservative. As a matter of fact, if you are against socialism, if you are against government intervention, and you support that, you're not a principled person. Even if you don't vape. And by the way, you can still support Donald Trump in most respects. You can still say that you think he's been a pretty good president, and acknowledge that this is a horrible, stupid policy and precedent to set.
Yes, exactly. This is I support it. I support a lot of the things the president has done and is trying to do. But this one, I got a fucking issue with, if you haven't been able to tell. And it's not the fact of, oh no, I'm going to lose my vaping. It is the fact of I should have the right to put what's in my body. I've been doing this for almost 6 years. I've had no deleterious health effects. My health is actually better. I breathe better. The fact that, smoking can take a toll on your teeth and gums. I thought about it. I don't want to be like other members of my family who've smoked and had major teeth problems, later in life. So, hey, I'm going to probably have my teeth a lot longer than they did because of it. It's a healthier thing to do.
Unless you're a cheerleader, right? Unless you're one of those alt-right pom-pom waving, trust the plan of Donald Trump cheerleader.
Which, sorry, this is the only thing I got a problem with in this. The alt-right hates Trump with a passion. They hate conservatives. They are literally the same thing as the far left, except they're racist towards a different group. They want the same exact things, the same exact socialism. The only difference besides the racism is one wants closed borders and for themselves, and the other one wants open borders. Those are the only differences. Ideologically, that's it.
This is something that should really upset, and I notice this with a lot of people. They are against bans until it affects something that they care about, that they want banned. So usually on the flip side, right, you have liberals who are pro-ban. On the left is pro-ban everything that they think might be harmful until it comes to their thing that might be banned. And then they're all of a sudden about freedom, right? All of a sudden when it comes to chopping up a baby and sucking it down a tube, well, we've crossed a bridge too far. Whereas on the flip side, you have a lot of conservatives, and I mean a lot of, more so kind of the Trump cheerleaders who've come to it more newly. By the way, I think he's been a surprisingly good president, so don't get me wrong here, but it's okay to question dear leader, okay? People need to understand that. On the flip side, you have conservatives who are against bans until it comes to banning something that they find offensive. Sometimes that can be pornography, sometimes that can be smoking, in this case, vaping. Vaping. They're trying to claim that vaping markets to kids. Listen, more kids are probably vaping. By the way, what do you think the over-under is on Melania having found Barron with a jewel in the bathroom? I hate the idea. I'm kind of joking, but I hate the idea that could be a catalyst for Nash.
Yeah, it's true. That would suck if that was the reason. Trump's like, well, Barron got caught with it. We got to get rid of all of them. Yeah.
No policy.
But
Mom, it's just nicotine salts. I'm not freebasing. And something else I think that's important is this ends up taking us away from the science. So listen, I smoke cigars, and that's something coming down the pike for people who don't know. We'll probably talk about it tonight in the live stream.
Well, okay. He goes on, he talks about cigars, he talks about a little bit of the science. But yeah, see, this is the situation. Steven Crowder, I have to give credit to. I really do. Sticks, on the other hand, I got to call him out for being a fucking high on his own farts, smug, fucking pathetic, brainlet. He's a brainlet. He truly is. And they're talking about, oh, Jewel here. Jewel's going to be fine. All right. I mean, yeah. So... But all the tabs I have here, including an original claim here from August 29th about the initial outbreaks, will be available for you to look at in the description. I just needed to do this because this is ridiculous. I'm at a loss for words because I'm looking at a Satanist libertarian. Okay, so it should be decadence, put whatever you want in your body, do whatever you want, saying, oh yeah, well, Fuck vaping. Do patches. Do nicotine gum. And do other things alongside that when that's less effective. And yeah, he's, trying to dictate morality. Whereas the conservative saying, calling this shit out. We literally live in fucking clown world. Steven Crowder, who is the anti-pot, anti-this, anti-that, is in defense. While Styx is going, oh, well, you shouldn't be doing that because it's stupid, because I say it's stupid. Give me a fucking break. Anyway, I think I've said what I need to say. So, I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.